Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Thanks for stopping by. Today I've got some honeybee creations for you, farmhouse style. I picked up this watering can at my Dollarama for $4. It already had this really aged patina to it, so I was just going to leave it that way, and I decided to just put a cute little honeybee quote on it. I like to use painter's tape so it'll be a straight line, and then I'm going to just take my Craft Smart black paint pen and put the words on. I'm sort of doing a little bit of a Ray Dunn sort of font. It's my own freehand way of doing it, but I'm just trying to copy the letters as best as I can. If you are new to my channel, I'd like to say welcome. I do trash to treasure, thrift store flips, dollar store DIYs, and any home decor on a budget. I really like the farmhouse style, but I do tend to go off a little bit every once in a while. So I hope you'll stick around and hit that red subscribe button. The quote that I'm putting on this watering can is, "Pardon the weeds, I'm feeding the bees." I just thought it was adorable. I just found it online when I was searching honeybee decor. And what I'm going to do is choose a different font for the words weeds and bees. I'm going to make them in lowercase and kind of make them a little quirky. If you don't have a good freehand or you just don't like the way your handwriting turns out, there's a bunch of different ways you could achieve this same look. One of the ways you could do this very easily is just find a free printable with the quote and the design that you like online, cut it out, and then just use Mod Podge or some other type of craft glue to glue it right on the watering can. Another way would be to use the tracing method with a pencil. You print off the printable that you like, and then on the back side you color over all of the letters and the design with pencil, and just make sure you do it really nice and thick. And then you can lay your paper right side up onto your item, use a pen or a pencil really hard and trace out what you've got, and then you'll get a really faint pencil line that you'll be able to trace with paint or a marker. Once it was done, I just styled it with some pretty yellow flowers and some greens. This next project is an IKEA flip. I have had this IKEA mirror. I think I bought 3 or 4 of them, and I've also purchased some white ones as well. This one has the little mirror in the center, and this is black. So I don't want the mirror, so I'm just going to take my craft knife, and it's just got some really stiff glue in there. I'm just going to cut it and pop out that mirror really carefully. I really love a shiplap look, so instead of the mirror, I'm going to put these little pieces of wood that I have left over from another project. I'm going to cut them down to size and then hot glue them into place. I do like the black, but I want to do something white with this, so I'm going to use Rust-Oleum chalked paint in linen white, give it a couple of coats, and then I'll end up sanding some of it down to give it a bit of a distressed look. I'm also going to be painting the shiplap white. In between coats of paint for the frame, I'm going to make myself my own stencil. I don't have anything bee or honeycomb related, so I decided to just get some free printable images online, and I have a little piece of stencil that was cut off from a larger stencil, which I didn't need. It was just a little extra piece, and instead of tossing it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to hang on to it. And what I'm going to do is just trace out with my craft knife some of these honeycomb shapes, and that will give me a nice little stencil to work with. For this project, I decided just to cut out 3 of the honeycomb shapes because I can always duplicate that and just move the stencil around to create a larger section if that's what I needed. Now I'm going to move on to doing a bee. I've got 2 honeybee pictures here, and what I'm going to do is cut out the black sections. When you're looking online for free printables, if you type in the word honeybee stencil, you'll get something that looks like my first little bee that I'm working on, which will give you the different whites and blacks. Or you can choose honeybee silhouette, which is the bottom one, and that will allow you to color the whole silhouette of the bee in. You would just be cutting the outline all the way around the edge. I ended up moving my stencil down to the bottom bee because I wanted to use those wings instead. I cut an outline of them, and then I just cut a few stripes on the inside of the wings to show some dimension. I've got my stencil cut out and ready to go. I'm going to place it in the center of the little wooden shiplap square, and I'm going to use a Dollar Tree makeup sponge to apply the paint. That's going to give me some really good control, and I'm also going to be able to dab really well into the smaller areas. I'm also going to add some stencils on the top and the bottom. I'm going to put organic at the top and then local honey at the bottom. And again, I'm going to use my makeup sponge to apply the stencil paint. I'm using some 220 grit sandpaper just to sand off and distress the edges and the corners a bit. And then I also decided to use some gray acrylic paint just to give it a dry brush look. This next project is also using something from IKEA. This is a little pot that I had left over from some of their greens, and I decided to use it to create a little honey pot. I am painting with acrylic paint, but I should have used chalk paint. This surface on this pot is pretty slick. It's plastic, and I did have a little bit of difficulty with some of the paint peeling and chipping off. The next part I'm doing is making a little lid for my honey pot. Now this sort of round saucer thing was the base of a candlestick. I also painted that white. You can see that I've just done one coat here. And then I'm taking a big wood bead and gluing that into the hole there. And I'm also going to add a smaller bee for the top and make a little knob for the honey pot lid. Now I'm going to use my Craft Smart paint pen, and I'm going to just use my faux Ray Dunn font again and freehand the word honey on it. When I'm doing things that are around like this, I like to start with the middle letter of the word or the middle two letters of the word. So for this, the middle letter is honey, so I'm going to do the N-E-Y, and then I'm going to go back and do the O and the H. In keeping with Farmhouse colors, I decided to do the honeycomb in gray and just use a makeup sponge. However, this didn't turn out as I expected. I started to stencil and then lost my grip on the pot, and it just went awry. So I ended up having to start over. So have some faith, not everything turns out exactly the way I want it either. There's always trial and error. While I was waiting for the white paint to dry on the pot from my oops, I'm going to go ahead and work on the lid. So I'm using some yellow acrylic paint that I dulled down a little bit with some red. And I have this tiny little stencil brush. This was just a regular paintbrush that I cut down so I could get nice and neatly into all of these tiny little corners. I decided to paint the beads on the top, one yellow and one black, just to give it a little bit more of a cutesy look. So now I'm going to try my hand at the honeycomb on the pot again. Hopefully I don't have a slip up again. I decided to go with the yellow just to keep it in the theme of the lid as well. And then I'm going to glue the lid to the pot, and I'm going to have myself a cute little honey pot for display. Once I had all the honeycombs put on, I decided they need a little bit of dimension, so I'm just going with my really thin black marker that I have here. This is actually just a scrapbook marker that I've had forever. It still has tons of ink in it, and I'm just drawing some little lines around the honeycomb just to give them more of a three-dimensional look. I also added the dimensional lines to the letters. The last details that I added were some markings with my oil-based pen just to give it more of an enamel kind of look. I didn't go all the way through. I was just doing some strips here and there, but I tried to catch all of the ridges. So there's 2 ridges on the pot, and then there were a couple of ridges on the lid, and it just made it pop. I really hope you enjoyed my honeybee decor items today. If you did, please like, comment, and share. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button if you're new to my channel and that bell to get notified when I upload new videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Have a great day.